This way. So what do you think about when you think about Easter? When you think about this day, what do you think about?
Easter eggs. Sorry, it happens, man.
Well, that's
Get around it.
It's all over the place.
Easter egg hunt.
Easter eggs.
It has risen.
It's resin, chocolate, there you go. Chocolate bacon with Easter eggs. There you go.
I think the spring too.
Yes.
It's the new life
Is that new life?
Weird family.
Green.
Weird family get-togethers.
Weird family get-together.
Let's go green. The ears.
Bunny ears. There
Family
you
get-togethers.
Blue too.
go. Empty tomb, yes. Living on this side, it's pretty nice. But that was the worst 2.5 days these disciples ever experienced. Seeing Jesus. The way it went down. It started out with this really solemn occasion where he's saying, one of you is going to betray me. You may as well do what you got to do. And he has, the first communion is on that Thursday night. And then Jesus goes out and prays and asks his disciples to pray. I mean, what if you were one of the disciples? Jesus is asking you to pray and you slept. You didn't stay awake for Jesus. I mean, I don't know. I'd feel kind of bad about that. You know, you're not staying awake for Jesus. You know, you're sleeping, and you know it's late out. And you know, maybe if they'd have been awake, they would have got Jesus out of there, so the crowd and the guards wouldn't have taken him. And we know the story of Judas came and betrayed him with the kiss. Mike's going to be staying in our house for the rest of the school year. And then he's going to plan to go to EMU. I was telling him about, EMU is a good place, but there's still stuff there. There's sin there as much as anything. I said, and he kind of looked at me and he's wondering what was going on, What do you mean? I said, in our house we have ants. We try not to have ants. We even put ant traps out, but they still come in. Stuff's still going to come into EMU. I don't care where it is. I don't care what church it is, what place it is, what house it is. Them ants seem to get in there. And here's Judas, one of the 12, key player, chosen by Jesus himself, betrayed Jesus. And then Peter, he was seeing what was going on, took out his sword, hacked off the servant's ear. And then what's Jesus do? He rebukes Peter and heals the guy's ear. I mean, Peter is doing what he thinks he should be doing. And that's what we do. We do what we think we should be doing, but it may not be really what Jesus wants us to do, but then he didn't understand. And then in the face of all, I'm slipping off my, you don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen either. But here it is, here they are, they're taking Jesus away. Peter's, he doesn't know what to make about this. So he follows Jesus from a distance, seeing what's going on, seeing Jesus getting beat, flogged, smash a crown of thorns on his head, spit on him, roll dice for his clothes, put some weird robe on him, some mock trial, he's convicted, And there in that dark evening, it was a bad evening. It wasn't a great time. There's Peter, a little servant girl. Says, you're with them. And there's Peter 3 times that night, denies that he even knew Jesus. Tough day. We know the religious leaders just weren't satisfied with just throwing Jesus in jail. They wanted him dead. Everyone except John was right there in front of the cross. All the other disciples, I don't know. When tough times come, people don't like to stick around. Who does? When the Indians do great, the stands fill up. When the Indians don't do great, the stands go down. And Jesus died that Friday afternoon, along with their hopes and their expectations. This is the guy that they saw raise someone from the dead. Healed some guy's eyes, were blind. Preached to crowds. Thousands got fed. And he was buried in a tomb, which was sealed with a stone. How do you suppose Peter and the disciples felt during those long 2.5 days? Probably worthless. Maybe ashamed. Maybe that they failed. They had more questions than anything, probably. You know, I've come to believe that it's when we seriously doubt, and those doubts bother us, that's when we have a little bit of faith. Doubts wouldn't bother us if we didn't have any faith. Our doubts wouldn't bother us. That's an encouraging word for me. I read that somewhere this past week. They had abandoned Jesus. They were afraid. They knew that Jesus didn't deserve it. And Peter felt that he didn't deserve to be with Jesus. Probably anymore. But the truth is that at some point, all of us have denied or abandoned Jesus. All of us at one time have denied or abandoned him. Maybe with our words, maybe with our thoughts, or with our actions. I have. Some years ago when I was singing the Messiah, they keep singing this same phrase all over and over in one of the choruses. All we like sheep have gone astray. It's an interesting melody line. The melody line goes astray. We like sheep have gone astray. It goes astray. That's good. That's good songwriting. The songwriting goes astray. All we like sheep, and then you have to sing it all because those notes are weird notes. I'm sure I wasn't hitting them exactly, but it's similar to that. Go listen to the Handel's Messiah. All we like sheep have gone astray, everyone to his own way. All of us have chosen to follow our own path at some point in life, rather than following Jesus, even if we've been following Jesus, like the disciples were following Jesus for about 3 years. Anyone is susceptible. When we follow our own path, we're denying Jesus. As a result, our selfish choices, we follow them, and we may even get what we want by following our own way. We may get a career, we may get money, we may get possessions, toys, a certain lifestyle. But anytime we follow our own way, the focus is on ourselves. And there's always a cost. Perhaps we don't see that cost at first, but eventually relationships suffer. Spouse, kids, parents, siblings, friends. Sometimes our health suffers. Many times there's just this empty feeling inside because we climb the ladder of life only to realize the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. Why am I up there? Why did I go that way? Sometimes we don't realize till we're up on that ladder, a ways. Perhaps like Peter, we have come to a point where God convicts our hearts and we too feel worthless, ashamed, disappointed, like a failure, and believe there's no hope. We feel that we deserve to be disowned by Jesus. Or perhaps the emptiness of our own lifestyle causes us to wonder in our hearts if this is all there is to life. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched events on TV. Not a question. After winning his third Super Bowl, Tom Brady, quarterback of the New England Patriots, he was on 60 Minutes. And he said this in his interview. This is a 3-time Super Bowl champ. And he's in his 20s in this interview. He says, why do I have 3 Super Bowl rings and still think there's something greater out there for me? I mean, maybe a lot of people would say, hey man, this is really living. You reached your goal, you reached your dream. But me, I think, God, there's got to be more than this. I mean, this isn't it. This can't be what it's all cracked up to be. In contrast, Tony Dungy, in his book Quiet Strength. Now, Tony's a Christian, and he was the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts who won the Super Bowl in 2007. This is what he wrote in his book, Quiet Strength. The Super Bowl is great, but it's not the greatest thing. My focus over the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl was Matthew 16:26, in which Jesus asks, what do you benefit if you gain the whole world and lose your soul? And he goes on, he says, our guys could gain all the accolades and success of this world, yet lose touch with what matters, their priorities, their principles, and God who loves them. That's what it's all about, touching lives, building a legacy, Dungy says, and not necessarily on the field, but in those places that most people will never see. Trying to be faithful in the position God has given me. I love coaching football, and winning a Super Bowl was a goal that I had for a long time, but it has never been my purpose in life. My purpose in life is simply to glorify God. We have to be careful that we don't let the pursuit of our life's goal, no matter how important they seem, cause us to lose sight of our purpose. 2 different Super Bowl winners, 2 very different perspectives. One feeling empty, the other satisfied. Following our way eventually leads us to emptiness.